Have you ever stopped to consider why your grocery bills keep getting higher? It's not just because the price of avocados has skyrocketed. It's part of a larger phenomenon known as the rising cost of living. This is the ever-increasing price of goods and services over time, and it's affecting virtually everything, from the food on our tables to the roofs over our heads. So what's driving this surge? The primary culprit is inflation. As the cost of production rises, so too does the price we pay for our goods. Inflation is like a silent thief, gradually eroding our purchasing power. But it's not just food prices that are on the upswing. The cost of living encompasses so much more, including housing and utilities, areas we'll delve into in the upcoming scenes. In the face of economic instability, the simple act of buying groceries can become a financial challenge. Imagine waking up one day to find that your rent has doubled. How would that impact your life? The cost of housing, a basic human necessity, has been on a steady climb. It's not just a matter of bricks and mortar, it's about the quality of life, the ability to save, and the freedom to make choices. Let's consider Jane Doe, a single mother of two, living in a medium-sized city. Her rent, which used to be a manageable third of her income, has doubled in the last 5 years. This sudden increase has forced her to make tough decisions between paying rent or buying nutritious food, between saving for her children's education or keeping the lights on. But what's driving this surge in housing costs? A multitude of factors contribute to this rise, from increasing demand and limited supply to the costs of construction and land. And at the heart of it, we find economic instability. Uncertainty in the economy can lead to fluctuations in housing prices, creating a volatile market where rents can skyrocket with little warning. But the repercussions of high housing costs don't stop at the front door. They ripple out, affecting every facet of life. When a significant portion of income goes towards housing, less is left for other essentials like food, healthcare, and education. It can also limit opportunities for upward mobility, making it harder for individuals and families to break the cycle of poverty. Moreover, the stress and anxiety caused by housing instability can have profound impacts on mental and physical health. Studies suggest that those struggling to pay rent or mortgage are more likely to experience depression, anxiety, and other health issues. And the impact is not just personal. High housing costs can lead to increased homelessness, putting additional strain on social services and creating further economic instability. In essence, housing is more than just a roof over your head. It's a cornerstone of stable, healthy communities. But when the cost of shelter becomes a burden, every other aspect of life feels the strain. Do you know how much it costs to keep the lights on? It's a question that becomes more pressing with each passing day. As we delve into the rising cost of utilities like electricity, gas, and water, we find that the figures are more than just numbers on a bill. They're a reflection of the economic instability that we face. Let's look at the case of electricity. In the past decade, electricity costs have soared, driven by factors such as increased demand, aging infrastructure, and environmental regulations. The result? An average household now spends hundreds of dollars more each year just to keep the lights on, the refrigerator running, and the heater warming. This escalating cost of electricity isn't just a burden for households. It's also a hurdle for businesses, particularly those in energy-intensive industries like manufacturing and data centers, which are grappling with the challenge of balancing operational costs with profitability. Then there's the cost of gas. With the unpredictable swings in global oil prices, the cost of gas has become a wild card in household budgets. It's not just about filling up the car anymore. It's about heating homes, cooking meals, and so many other daily tasks that rely on gas. The rising cost of gas is a stark reminder of our vulnerability to global economic shifts. And let's not forget water. It's a basic necessity, yet its cost has been rising steadily, driven by factors such as infrastructure upgrades and climate change. Households are feeling the pinch, but so too are farmers and other businesses that rely heavily on water. The rising cost of water underscores the economic and environmental challenges we face. Each of these utility costs is a piece of the larger puzzle of economic instability. They highlight the inefficiencies and challenges in the utility sector, from aging infrastructure and environmental regulations to global economic shifts. As these costs continue to rise, they put increasing pressure on households and businesses, making it harder to keep up with the cost of living, let alone get ahead. As the cost of utilities rise, the financial pressure on households and businesses intensifies, and that's a challenge we can't afford to ignore. What does the rising cost of living mean for our economy? At its core, the rising cost of living represents a crucial challenge to economic stability. When the price of essentials such as food, housing, and utilities escalates, it doesn't just affect individuals and families. It reverberates through the entire economy, influencing businesses, markets, and ultimately, our collective prosperity. For individuals and families, the rising cost of living can mean less disposable income, less saving, and a higher reliance on credit. This, in turn, can lead to increased debt levels, creating a ripple effect that impacts financial institutions and the broader economy. Businesses, too, feel the pinch. Higher living costs can translate into demands for higher wages, putting pressure on employers. For small businesses, this can be particularly challenging. And as businesses grapple with these increased costs, they may pass them on to consumers, continuing the cycle of inflation. But let's zoom out further to the macroeconomic level. The rising cost of living can contribute to economic instability by affecting consumer spending, which is a critical driver of economic growth. When consumers have less money to spend, businesses generate less revenue, which can lead to slower economic growth or even a recession. So, what can be done? Economists and policymakers have several tools at their disposal to mitigate the impact of rising living costs. These include monetary policies to control inflation, fiscal policies to stimulate economic growth, and social policies to support those most affected by the rising costs. For instance, expanding social safety nets or introducing wage subsidies can help support individuals and families struggling with the cost of living. Similarly, providing tax breaks or financial assistance to businesses can help them navigate the challenges of rising costs. In an uncertain economic landscape, understanding and addressing the rising cost of living becomes our shared responsibility. It's not just about individual survival, but about ensuring the health and sustainability of our broader economy. Because when we lift the financial burden off our shoulders, we also help to steady the economic ship.